Meeting is being recorded.
Is your announcement?
Okay. Let us begin by acknowledging that we are gathered today in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral, present, and future territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Today we gather with the intent followed by the Living Friendship Treaty with respect, cooperation, and coexistence. And because it's February, Nova Scotia recognizes African Nova Scotians as the distinct founding peoples with a 400-year history and over 550 historical land-based communities. The province formally acknowledges this legacy of over 400 years, predating Canada's Confederation, by celebrating African Heritage Month, promoting the UN Decade for People of African Nova Scotia. I call this meeting to order. This is a public meeting. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to discuss the 4 bylaws, 1 new and 3 amended. As part of the bylaw adoption process, Council is required to have a public hearing to gather feedback from residents. The Deputy CAO will introduce the topic of the public hearing and provide any necessary detail. Individuals present will be given the opportunity to provide feedback to Council on the bylaw in question. A, the purpose of a public hearing is not discussion or justification, so Council will not be responding to questions or engaging with those present during the public hearing. You had that chance to do that between the last Council meeting and today. Please allow all those present an opportunity to speak before you speak again. Any person present wishing to speak must state their name and civic address for the public record. Since there are 4 bylaws being discussed, we will have designated time to receive feedback on each bylaw to keep the evening organized. I will ask for comments on specific bylaws, and once comments are received, I will ask for comments on the next bylaw. We ask that those present maintain respect for the bylaw adoption process, Council, and fellow residents. People displaying unacceptable behavior will be asked to leave the public hearing and will not be permitted to return. Thank you all for attending and providing Council with your input on this most important topic. I will now pass the meeting over to the Deputy CAO.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. The purpose of this hearing is to receive verbal and written submissions regarding the draft seasonal sales area bylaw, the amended streets and sidewalks, special events, and temporary vending bylaws. So some background. At the Policy and Strategy Committee's February 3rd, 2026 meeting, the committee received a draft seasonal sales area bylaw, streets and sidewalks bylaw, special events bylaw, and temporary vending bylaw, and recommended that Council give first reading to these bylaws. Council received the recommendation on the draft bylaws at their February 10th, 2026 meeting and passed the following motions. That Council give first reading to the new seasonal sales area bylaw as amended. That Council give first reading to the updated streets and sidewalks bylaw as amended. That Council give first reading to updated streets and sidewalks bylaw. That Council give first reading to the updated temporary vending bylaw. And I said one wrong. That Council give first reading to the special events bylaw. Also, Council directs staff to organize a public hearing for the review of the seasonal sales area bylaw, streets and sidewalks bylaw, special events bylaw, and temporary vending bylaw to take place on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Mahone Bay Fire Hall. As far as notification of this public hearing was published on the town website and the town's Facebook page. Prior to this evening's hearing, no written submissions have been received.
So I will start with number 1. Does anyone have any comments they would like to provide to the seasonal sales area bylaw? I'll move on to the second bylaw. Does anyone have any comments they would like to provide on the amended streets and sidewalks bylaw? Yes. So you may stand and state your name and your civic address.
Hi, my name is Pat Nelder. I don't live in Mahone Bay. I live in Martins River.
Pat,
Nelder.
is she left?
Yeah, people don't have to say with it.
Okay.
So I'm quite involved with the recreational boating industry. And as you know, in Mahone Bay, we launch boats at the Civic Marina. And one of the issues that I see in the updated streets and sidewalks is that every time a boat is moved on, let's say, Main Street, you have to call the town manager. Is this correct? No, you're not allowed to ask questions. But that seems pretty difficult if you have, for example, if you were Mahone Marine and you had 10 boats to lodge, do you call the manager each time that you move a boat, or can you call him once for the day and say, I'm going to be moving boats through Main Street to launch at the Civic Marina? And then the other question I had was crossing the center line on Main Street is pretty much impossible to move anything down there, including my small car, without crossing the center line. So I wondered whether that could be looked at as the bylaw when you say moving boats and machinery. Is it true that every time we have to call them down? The other thing is that moving a heavy load through Main Street, usually people have provincial wide load permits. And does it mean that you have to get another permit to come through Mahone Bay, or is it still the provincial permit that carries through? A lot of boats these days are 12 foot wide. And
Thank you.
that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who has a comment on the amended streets and sidewalk bylaws?
Yep, I'll. Matt Eakins, 378 Main Street. Just basically the same as Pat. You know, if we want to move a piece of equipment through town, how the town bylaw from provincial wide load permits. And, you know, if we have an emergency and we need to move a piece of equipment, I can hold a manager on the weekend or whenever we need to move our equipment. As long as we've got our provincial permits in place, I feel that should be all that's needed, really.
Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move on to the third bylaw. Does anyone have comments they would like to provide on the amended special events bylaw? Okay, then we'll move on to number 4. Does anyone have comments they would like to provide on the amended temporary vending bylaw? Okay.
We never thought we might not go the 15 minutes with all 4, but we are required to wait the 15
To wait 15 minutes, yeah.
So we have to wait till 7:15 to, you may leave, but we have to stay if you want. But before you do, I'll just say thank you everyone for attending and coming here and taking part in the public input. And thank you for the remarks that we did receive. We will consider those.
So council will put these 4 items to a vote at 7:15.
No, there's no.
Nothing
No, this is just to the council meeting on Thursday.
for the council meeting.
So I guess for clarification for anybody, after the end of tonight's hearing, the vote on these items, second reading, would be on the agenda for Thursday evening's council meeting. In the meantime, and as soon as the hearing is technically adjourned, I'd be happy to answer the questions that were raised.
That's what I think.
Yes, Carol?
Carolyn Wellness, I live here in Mahoney. I just had a question that had nothing to do with this. It has to do with trying to get to church on Sunday morning.
Can we wait for that until
Yeah,
after
we
this
can.
hearing? And we will
Okay,
answer that, just
Okay.
that we keep this to the specific topic. But you can chat among yourselves.
So if I'm not quite sure.
No, I.
But this doesn't get excited.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
40%.
can I make my comment? Yeah. I passed it on to, Laura.
It's interesting.
What are we looking at?
People were like,
Oh,
we didn't have any other levels. Yeah.
No, that was the one we're plugging, yeah.
Still says deal.
It was one right in the middle.
It's interesting. Yeah. Did you get kicked out or?
No.
I was just kicked out.
Were you?
Where did you get kicked out? I was just saying.
My mic, yeah.
No, mine, it was at the end, but you kicked out. I think they forgot fast enough.
Is it? Okay. Last call for comments? Yeah, okay, Mary.
What was the amended rule for the sidewalk?
Oh, because it was as amended. Eric, do you recall what the amendment that was made at the meeting was? It was a minor one, 'cause
Yeah, they were minor ones. I can look back and get that information. I don't recall exactly what they were.
Does that mean it's still allowed?
Inconsequential.
Pardon?
Does that mean it's still allowed to close out the sidewalk?
oh,
No, no, there's gonna be a throughway.
Yeah.
well, let's adjourn.
Sidewalk.
That's a question.
Sidewalk.
Okay, so, I will, business is done and I will adjourn this meeting and now we can answer questions. You had some, so